the quality is set in the field. It doesn't, it's not created in the packing shed. It can only get worse in the packing shed. It all comes down to what happens in the field, whether what the crop management is like, or whether what Mother Nature would throw at us.
I'm Rob Armstrong, and I'm working at Harvest Moon. The last 2 seasons I've been a field officer for onions, and then now currently in onion sales. We grow 100 hectares of red onions and 160 hectares of brown onions. If there's any sort of visible disease, even if it's just in a patch like a little bit of white rot or some bacterial rot, and that can just be spread and that'll go through the bins in storage. So a little patch at harvest that doesn't look bad can end up being pretty disastrous after 6 months of storage. And it might not look like much out of the field, but once that onion contaminates the 4 or 5 or 6 next to that onion in storage, and then they just sort of domino effect in the bin, and they, through the packing line, they might rub up and just get visual damage as well.
Premier Fresh was established about 20 years ago by the Ertler family, who are still involved. The family have been on this property for 70 years. We grow crops in our own right, and we also contract other growers to grow for us, and we lease ground as well. Irrigation leading into harvest is probably one of the big things we need to consider, just to make sure we've got the crop in the right conditions. Yeah, pretty important to sort of, I guess, wean the onions off water almost, and then not let them get wet if you can help it at that time. Obviously, you've got to really be on the ball with the forecasting and what's sort of coming, because you can set yourself up to really make a mess of it.
Obviously, white rot is pretty widespread on the northwest coast these days. It's something we have to live with and we try and manage. That obviously can cause some dramas. That's both a field problem and a storage problem, can be. Botrytis species that cause neck rot, or a type of bulb rot, is more insidious, and that's something that infects the onions in the field, but generally isn't evident until some time into storage. And thankfully we haven't seen a major epidemic of botrytis for a few years, but it's still about, and it can still come up and cause problems. And then bacterial rot, which is again less common, but in some fields, in some seasons, can also cause headaches.
I guess the other important factor for onion growing to get a good quality crop into the pack house is a lot of forward planning, like picking your paddocks early, getting soil tests done early, so any of your amendments can be done in a timely manner, and soil work, groundwork, seed bed prep, all ready for that time when you need to put your onions in the ground.
And even better still, look forward beyond this season to next season, or even the season after. What's the rotation? What issues are they going to come up with? And for growers who are supplying packing operations, who are independent of packing operations, work with the agronomist. I mean, you're both aiming for the same thing, which is high yields of good quality. If you can, spend the time to walk the crop with the grower and the agronomist, understand what's going on, so you've got an appreciation of the importance of timing and the importance of getting things done on the schedule.